Good evening. Welcome to the City of Oak Park Heights Park Commission meeting. Today is Monday, May 16th, and we are going to call to order. At this point, I would ask for an approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll approve the Parks and Trails Commission minutes from February 28th and the work session on March 21st.
Yeah, I'll approve.
You'll approve?
Both of those?
Yes.
Second.
Approved and seconded. We go on to department and commission liaison reports. So first is arborist Lisa Danielson.
I've just got a couple items to update you guys on quickly. April 29th was Arbor Day here in Oak Park Heights, and the month of May is known as Arbor Month. So there's a activity book on the front counter out there, as well as on the city's website, with some different family activity ideas or fun things to do individually, at home, in the parks, or really wherever. It's similar to the one that I had put together last year, just with a few additions. And this year we are required to have the tree planting. Last Friday, a Black Hills spruce was planted at Autumn Hills Park on the south side of the shelter. So when we do the parks walkthrough, we can take a photo at that time. And then the last thing I have to update will be for the 2021 Tree City USA application. We received that award along with the growth award. They sent us a nice little 40-year plaque for being a Tree City too. It's actually out in the trophy case just outside the door over there. And then we got a 40-year flag and what was the other thing? Oh, the stickers for the road sign. So those are all updated now. That's all I have to report tonight.
I have a couple things
Sure.
for Lisa.
Sure.
So I have a list for you tonight. Just a couple things.
Okay.
I noticed that you are starting to replace boulevard trees, right?
We had replaced 7.
Some of that you cut down,
Yes.
ash, and then now you're replacing them. And
They were just general tree removals from the fall last year. They weren't necessarily ash borer replacements.
yeah, okay.
So-
So you just, out of your selection of trees, you pick the 4 or 5 that you like, and then you plant those?
Yeah, we've got, I don't know, I think there's like 8 or 9 selections this year. Basically, it's anything on there but maple because we have too many maple trees here in the city. So that kind of makes it difficult for us when applying for grants because we have to be at a certain percentage of different species of trees. So right now we're trying to work towards that goal. So, and to work towards that goal, it's kind of not planting more maple, unfortunately.
Okay. The second thing is, on the newsletter, do people know how to contact you for problem trees if they want an opinion?
Yes,
Because someone asked me, and I said, well, I think it's in the newsletter
it is.
that you have your little
Yep,
column.
it's on the, I think it was the right side of the page this time.
Okay, so I'll tell them,
Right towards the bottom.
look at the newsletter.
Yeah.
And you'll go on their property and give them opinion on their tree?
Yep, as long as they're a resident here in Oak Park Heights.
Okay.
Oh, and I guess I could mention too, it's in progress since I presented it at the council meeting. We applied for a grant for emerald ash borer and
Oh, that was the
we're in
13.
the process of getting that all finalized. So we should be able to begin in July with that. We proposed to remove 100 trees and replant 110. And all these trees have to be on city-owned boulevard right-of-ways or within the park's mowed areas. So,
Why don't you tell them how much that grant was, Lisa?
just under $120,000.
Oh,
It's
nice.
a hefty
Nice grant.
Lisa did a great job on that.
Thank you.
My last thing on the list is invasive trees like buckthorn and all that stuff. Are you still doing that around some of the parks and stuff? Or are you done with all that?
Well, it's always going to be a work in progress.
Ongoing?
Yeah, as of like today, there's nothing that we're doing.
Yeah.
But it's a work in progress. We don't have an active project right now removing buckthorn. So,
Thanks.
And thank you and congratulations on that kind of grant. It doesn't come easy these days.
thank you.
Thank you.
Does something like that get in the Gazette then, that we were awarded that grant, or?
I think when we can do like a press release on it, probably we'll do
Probably should. I
something.
mean, that's
Yeah, I
kind of a
think
big
that's
deal,
most-
120,000. It's not like somebody gave you a couple bucks, you
Right.
know?
Yep.
Yeah, we're, it's not supposed to be public yet, but.
Okay, so
when
we
Well,
need to.
whenever.
Yeah, we just can't, she basically said we can't advertise it, like we can't have it out there like on the website saying, oh, we've got this project going on.
Obviously, reporting to commissions
Yeah.
and councils is a different story. but-
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll keep it in mind though, because we appreciate it, that's for sure. All right, we move on to the Public Works Director, Andy Cagley.
Yeah, I wish I had something exciting for you, but we really don't. It's business as usual. Parks are open. A little bit earlier than usual. We like to open them around Memorial Day weekend, but we're open as we are here. And staffing has been an issue. We do have two on board, one for sure and one likely. So we'll get them started as soon as possible. Otherwise, we're just continuing to maintain parks and trails.
Thank you. I have one question for you.
Sure.
Lately, I've been receiving notices from neighbors and people within our city about the number of motorized vehicles, little carts and things like that, that are going down into our parks. And what I talked to one of the officers, because some of the people are calling the police about it, and then the police come and, look around for the young kid on the motorized bike going down the street and stuff like that. And they said one of the problems is that there are no motorized vehicle signs at the entrance to our parks because they were replaced with the warning about the bear cub.
Oh, really?
And so I'm wondering if there's some way either we could just make it more of a priority, because we're getting to the season where the parks are full from dawn to setting sun with people walking and taking their kids down and all of that. Those motorized vehicles are really quite dangerous even for the kids on them when they're on the streets.
Right.
But going into the parks is really getting to be a problem. So I was hoping.
Absolutely. We can certainly post
Great.
that. Yep,
Thank you so much.
no problem.
So Andy, I got a couple things here. One that's totally unrelated to our commission, but I'm still going to mention it because I just came up. Are you done doing a street overlays program, right? Coming up?
We do have a,
It's
in your
really in
neighborhood,
rough
in fact.
shape. Some. What's
Yeah,
that?
in your neighborhood, in fact, we have a project this year.
Yeah.
So your neighborhood will be milled and overlaid this
Yeah.
year. I don't know what's going on
Yeah.
with these microphones.
So that's kind of unrelated. But the second thing is I forgot where we left the discussion last year about, for lack of a better word, the cracks in the trails like Boutwell. And you gave a lot of term when you put a strip down there and fill it in. Are we still on top of that?
Yeah, we're working on that as we can. Our staff, myself and Jared Marks, actually, we've been working on a similar plan to what we had for the street maintenance plan. It takes time, it takes money, and so I'm sure Mr. Doherty here he's getting a sneak peek of what I'll be asking for during budget time. But yeah, we're still doing what we can.
The weather really affects that, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay.
How about equipment in Schwager?
Yep, that project has kind of been pushed to the back burner. We do have a lot going on this year, but we haven't forgotten about it. So
Okay, and how about that replacement we did at Brecky?
the replacement.
The little
Train.
Train.
Oh my goodness, take a look at it. Jared Marks rebuilt the whole thing. It looks
Ooh,
fantastic.
And it's in
Brand new.
place and
It's
ready
in
to roll.
place.
Okay,
Gotta go look.
great.
Yep.
I just got a video sent to me of my grandson playing on that train.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good deal.
You.
We actually got a couple of pictures too from moms taking pictures of their kids in it. They love it.
That's, that train is an institution in itself.
Absolutely. I don't
It's-
understand why it's so popular, but
It's been there
Oh, it's
forever.
fun.
yeah.
The last time I was in Brecky, talked to this young couple that had a toddler
Sure.
on the train, and they said they live the other side of Hudson now, but they still bring their children back because of Brecky and the train.
Boy, that's neat.
I loved it.
Yeah. No, Jared did a fantastic job on that train, so we'll
Look
give
at
him
it.
kudos tomorrow. And although we already have, but I'm sure he'd like to hear it again.
We'll see it at the Perk one.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No,
We go
nothing else.
move on to the commission liaison report and Councilman Chuck Doherty.
The only thing I really have is a party in the park. Will be at Brecky Park on June 9th, starting at 4:30.
Thank you. Glad you mentioned it because I have it at the end of the informational
Yep.
list, but it bears repeating twice because it's always a cool event. And hope that a lot of people do show up for that. All right, we have visitors and public comment next. Is this the
They
time?
are all here for new business item A.
I've got it. That's what I thought. So we're going to move on. Old business, Parks and Trails Commission vacancies.
Yeah.
And as you can see, this should be a team of 5, and we're missing 2, but we've had 2 applicants, and both of them very impressive with their backgrounds and their enthusiasm for the job. So where do we go from, the legal standpoint of how do we do this now?
Sure. So, Madam Chair and members of the commission, your role with that is to, if you're satisfied with your candidates, to make a recommendation that the city council appoint those 2 candidates to the vacancies. And that would be a term through December 31st, 2024.
2024.
Both of them.
Both of them same term. Yes,
December 31st, 2024.
correct.
And do we wait until actually that is moved through the commission, or to city council before we even use their names? Is that correct?
You can certainly use their names now.
Okay.
Application information, candidate information is public. And yes, so the city council meets on Tuesday, May 24th. I will bring it to them on their agenda that evening for appointment. I don't,
2 people I just mentioned, Jennifer Van Dyke and Tom Thietz, to be appointed to the Parks and Trails Commission. Do I have a second?
I'll make the motion to recommend that Jennifer Van Dyke and Tom Thietz be appointed to the Park and Trails Commission for terms ending December 31st, 2024.
Thank you. Would you like to
I'll
second that?
second, sure.
Thank you. And that motion has been made and carried, and we will welcome them at our next meeting. Thank you for that. All right. At this point, it's new business, and we are going to talk about Mountain Bike Skills Park proposal.
yes, Madam Chair, members of the commission, the city was approached by a resident and then SASCA, the group that put in your parks, put in and maintain the mountain bikes course over at Valley View Park. They approached the city about an idea for a mountain bike skills course. And they tossed around a couple of different options for location, and they felt like Oak Park Crossing Park was a great, visible, nice spot that ties in real close to their trails at Valley View Park. And so they came to the city, they met with city staff. They're aware of the process of meeting with you and then potentially the city council if it moves forward. They also are aware of budgetary constraints and King Plant coal ash site constraints. I did ask them to come here tonight and provide a presentation to you to let you all know what a skills course even is, how much real estate that takes up, what that might look like, and answer any questions you might have. Because can certainly ask them any questions. They may have questions for you. I will ask whoever's doing the presentation to come up to the podium, and we'll go from there.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having us. My name's Neil Swenson. I've been Oak Park Heights resident for 26 years. Live on 56th Street. And in 2014, I was part of Excel when they were looking at getting rid of the fly ash site. I'd sat in on a couple of those meetings looking for a good use for that site. And the last 3 years, I've worked with Calvin and Love and Matt on the mountain bike team for Stillwater High School. And it became apparent to me that that site would be ideal for a bicycle mountain bike skills course. And I think before we get going, I should introduce or have people introduce who they are and what their role is in this, starting with Love.
Hi, I'm Lev. I'm the Stillwater mountain bike head coach of the high school and middle school team.
Calvin Jones, I'm one of the minor coaches.
Matt Lehman, I'm an assistant coach as well, and then I do lead the effort in maintaining Valley View, the single track in Valley View. I'm Clay Eccles. I'm a retired public works director in the area, and I'm just excited about working on a project with the kids and the older kids too.
The Stillwater mountain bike team, I think you guys realize what a tremendous success that's been. There's over 100 kids on the team, 7th grade through 12th grade, one state the last 2 years? 4.
2 years.
So it's been a very successful team. In order to keep the team being successful, you obviously want to get young kids involved with it. And kids are flocking to mountain biking. People are flocking to mountain biking. Carver just built a skills park in Woodbury, built a skills park in Carver Park. Very high level skills park over there. And we're looking for just a rudimentary thing to start that we can branch off of. And I'll have diagrams in here that shows what a skills park is. So, how do I launch this?
There we go. Got it.
So what the goal of the skills park is to safely introduce riders to mountain biking. And talking to Jennifer, when she first got into mountain biking, she had some wipeouts and didn't know how to do things and got afraid of certain things out on the courses when she's riding. The goal is to learn these things in a controlled environment so that when you actually get out on a trail, that you're competent with the different skills that you need in order to safely ride them. Transferred my screen. And then we also want to provide a course for existing riders to enhance and develop their skills. So it's something that mountain biking, if you start out as a beginner, just riding on a sidewalk is tough. And then as you get more and more skills, you can have more and more different obstacles that you can overcome. And then the last goal is to build a stronger outdoor community in the St. Croix River Valley area. There's a lot of forces that keep kids at home on their computers and on their screens. And I want to make sure as a citizen that we get kids outside as active as possible too. So the Skills Development Park is, and we've had discussions with Jennifer and Eric and Lisa about where to locate the Skills Park. And the most obvious thing is there's a playground in Crossing Park that you could have a nice beginners area off of that, and you could actually extend that on to intermediate and more advanced too. So the first part of the plan is to, by the existing playground, have an introductory 160-yard course with 5 to 7 different features in the course that the kids can navigate, or they can choose to navigate around if they don't like it. Once the course is up and established, we could add hundreds of yards of extra features that provide different challenge levels for the riders. And a further addition, we could have something like Carver Park built on that crossing park too, which Carver has a really, really high level skills park built and developed in Woodbury. And then plan B or C is to augment the existing trail system. I think I gotta go to the next picture. So talking to Eric, he advocated that we go down the hill to the south, and that's where the blue line. So this is the existing white trail that is mountain bike trail that largely was built by Saska. Matt and Calvin did a lot of the work.
The laser plan.
So the white is all existing, and it gets ridden pretty hard. There's probably, every time I go there, there's several riders on it. And it's a kind of a hidden gem in the community because they did all the work, they developed the park. It's kind of tucked back and nobody gets to see it. So it's really a nice little park. So there's a couple of options here, and Matt sent off to Eric an example of what a bench cut is. A bench cut would be required in order to use this part of the park for the more advanced features. So we're not going to be talking about that tonight, but that is in the works. That changing screens on. So there's two different options down here. You would come off the trail. There the pointer works. So you'd come off the existing trail, go up the hill, and then you could do some features, and then return on the road or continue on to the trail. And then you could have two levels, so you could have an intermediate level skills course and a more advanced level skills course. And that's something that the high school team would get significant use in the fall of the year.
Where would it be? Would you repeat that last?
Okay, we'll go up to this map. So here is the playground, right up by number 2.
Right.
You go down the hill, here's one of the pavilions right there.
Yes.
So when you go down the hill, there's an existing trail system in there. That's all the white that's drawn here.
Mm-hmm.
The road that goes from, what's the name of that street? But that XL has access to is point number 3 right there. That's where they access the site. And they can drive down and service the manholes and the pumps that are in the system.
So when you say go down the hill, which hill are we talking about? Can you point that out?
This is in Crossing Park.
Mm-hmm.
Can you point at that one, because it's not showing up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's the playground.
Right.
Here's the trail system. Here's one of the pavilions.
Right.
Here's the manor.
Mm-hmm.
There's an entrance that XL uses to drive down to service
Okay.
the existing manholes and lift stations. And it would be right down along that road, parallel to that road.
Where's the walkway that, if you don't take that upper level walk and you go down through the woods and then there's a bridge down?
Oh, the wooden bridge, yeah.
Where is that on?
It's over here.
It's
Yes.
way down.
It's,
Down
so it's
farther.
all below this?
Yep, all
Mhm.
below this, yep.
That's what I was wondering too.
What I'm wondering is how you get down from the main circle route on there by the pavilions, where there's 2 pavilions and the playground. How do you get down to this new area?
There would not be a path. There would be a path coming off of the existing mountain bike trails.
Okay,
So everybody should be entering at Valley View Park, which is up on top of the hill, riding the trails.
There's also a walking path right here, and there's a short spot right there that we can build a little connection trail, so people could ride down that path and then get onto it there. And that would be a way to get at this area without having to ride either single track.
thank you.
And for now, we're really not talking about this because this requires a bench cut in that area in order for the bikes to get up and use the elevation.
So people, when they bring their mountain bike on the back of their vehicle, however, and they unload them for either the Skills or mountain bike, where do they park?
Currently, most people park at Valley View and unload their bikes and then ride them. If we had a beginner's park associated to the playground, they would park in the parking lot behind Phil's Terra.
Right, that parking lot,
Yes,
to get to this.
yes.
They wouldn't park at number 3.
No, definitely not.
There won't be any access from number 3. That's like a locked gate right there.
That's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
That could be quite an issue if they decide to park there and get on the trail as quick as possible, then you got
Yeah.
an issue.
They wouldn't be able to.
Oh.
Yeah, the trails have been existed for a long time and people don't use that. Most people enter through Valley View or off one of the trails.
There's a slope there too, so it's fences and.
So that's B and C, which are contingent upon Excel saying there can be a bench cut in that area.
Right,
So
Right.
largely what we're talking about is Area A today, which is the beginner's course.
Can you point out where that is again?
Um,
There you go. Is it next to the playground?
right next to the playground, immediately to the east of the playground.
If you go to, in your packet,
Yeah.
you go to page
10.
10.
But you say we're mainly talking at what today?
That one.
The beginner's section, which is right by.
So why do we have B and C then? What are we doing with Plan B and C?
B and C are being talked about, so it was just informative to you to let you know it's being talked about. And it'd be desirous for us to put intermediate and advanced level skills park down there adjacent to the existing trails, if Excel blesses that.
Is that when you come back to us again then? For B and C?
Yes,
At some other time?
some other time. Anything else on B and C?
now my concern is that we had problems a couple years back with the whole contingent coming with a couple of adults and riding the trails here, which are full of walking people, and having a hard time having room for both of them on the trail. And then we also had the same groups from Saska coming down the hill there, and we had to put a stop to that because they were riding down the side of that hill where you want Plan B and C, and it would just can't be allowed because of what happens with Excel property and what was there to start with. So I have to be concerned when you have that many people coming into it, that they would respect the property and what's there already. That's all.
Okay. So getting back to the introductory skills part, so if you think of your little 3-year-old, 5-year-old beginning to ride on a bike, you can take them to the playground and then say, here, Jimmy, Johnny, Karen, or whatever, bring your bike along and you can ride this loop while I'm here too. And it's a good way for them to learn skills and grow up not afraid of mountain biking and the different features that are there.
I think some adults should take that.
I was just gonna say 42-year-olds.
I don't think it's just
Yeah.
kids on that deal.
I mean, we all start at some point in time, but So the skills park would be 5 to 7 features to start with. It'd be enhance the playground so that people can use both of them and supervise the kids in one location. The real estate there is such a nice piece of land with so much potential that when this is successful, it can branch out to more features, more things that we can put in for the people, for the riders. So it would be volunteer built, use mostly rocks, clay, weather-resistant lumber, materials and equipment, budgetary price $7,500, and the maintenance would be largely mowing, and then seasonal SASCA maintenance, which is what SASCA's been doing for the existing Valley View Trail, and is very skilled at upkeeping that.
If you're bench cutting it, what would the mowing be, what mowing would be required? Wouldn't it be pretty much dirt around it?
It is pretty much dirt around there, but you don't want tall grass being right up next to the riders. So
Okay.
you want to have visibility. So it's not mow it down to grass level, but it's just maintain it so that it's not obtrusive. So here's an example of a feature which would be a beginning type feature. So these are made out of 2x6, true dimension, rough cut cedar. And this is in Minneapolis at their bike park. So basically this one is relatively wide, 48 inches, and it teaches kids how to ride up a little slope and down a little slope. And they've converted a lot of their existing tennis courts to mountain bike parks in Minneapolis. So that's an example of one of the features that we would want something similar to that. Lebanon has a nice skills park that's very similar to what I'd be envisioning, which uses a lot of the same things, just skinnies. And this is an example of how the trails would diverge in the future. So you have a branch in the trail where one way is labeled intermediate, one way is labeled beginners, and then you ride your course level. And typically how the kids learn is when they see an intermediate person doing a different, more skilled feature, they watch that 4 or 5 times, and then it's like, okay, I can try to do that. And they do that too. So there's an example of signage, and there are some difficulties with putting posts in the ground at that park. So that would have to be worked around, but you want to label things beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and keep the people on their appropriate skills course. Here's an example of 3 small hills that are just built out of compacted clay, and then they allow the kids to learn to pump a bike and ride through and do that type of riding. As I said, most features offer a ride-around option, so if it's something that's too difficult when you're on the course, you can see that there's a way that you can take that path instead of the one that's easy, intermediate, etc. Here's a in-ground treated lumber track. This one was at Carver, and all this is some posts in the ground that are sticking up an inch or two just to provide you, things aren't always smooth when you're mountain biking, so this gives you a taste of what that's like. Then some skinnies, and the world of skinnies is the better the biker, the skinnier they're able to ride. So you want to be able to ride on as a high-level biker, you'll be able to ride on a 3 or 4 inch wide thing. The beginners may need a 48 inch wide piece of substance to ride on. The beginners have about 6 inches that if they fall off the skinny, they're not going to get too hurt. The pros do significantly more. Here's a rock skinny that can be built using rocks, which are pretty low maintenance. And typically you have compacted areas to get up on these. This would be an example probably of an intermediate because you've got a 6 to 8 inch lip there to rise up and then fall down on the other side to successfully navigate. Then there's rock gardens, and those are literally what they sound like is you just put rocks in the ground and it's uneven pavement, and you figure out how to navigate your way through that and catch the line. And there's one real nice, couple of nice rock gardens in the existing trail system. Then on the corners, I put this picture in because it shows some 8x8s that they used to build it. They didn't use posts in the ground in order to support it. So there's potential to not dig deep into the soil, which is one of the requirements at Crossing Park. And make a corner like that. So that's what a bicycle skills park is. And what questions do you folks have?
Got a few here.
Got a few.
Well, that's good.
You ready?
Yep.
Now, can we open up to your
Yeah.
cohorts here? So I was in another community, I won't say, where mountain biking came up, and we packed the room. People on all sides of the issue of mountain biking. And one of the things that I experienced as a commissioner at that community was, what was mentioned, there's a user conflicts. And how do you police people that are going out for a walk, and all of a sudden a mountain biker is screaming by them?
Yeah.
I'll be blunt, and that came up a lot. And how do you deal with an area when when you're not there to self-policing a little bit? But that's a big issue.
It has been here too.
Yeah. So it enters some of my other comments. If I can just run down, can I do that?
Sure.
So on a deal like this, what's the liability to the community on a course like this, or something like this, when someone does get hurt on a deal like this? Let's say, even though it's beginning, let's say a little kid goes out there and goes the wrong way, and you're skinny, gets high-ended, and gets hurt.
Commissioners, Clay Eccles, good to see y'all. Worked in the Valley for my whole career as a Public Works Director. Partnered with Oak Park Heights on many projects over the years. That's a big question that comes up on pretty much every project that gets built. And I think kind of to keep it high level, cities really have a great insurance system, the insurance trust, where we as cities, we all put our money into a collective League of Minnesota Cities, and then they deal with all of our insurance issues. And in a situation like this, your insurance adjusters are going to look at how much does this increase your overall risk in your park systems. And I'm certainly not an insurance adjuster, but I don't think that there has really been a major issue in any community that has these systems in place where increased liability has erupted or been a part of that. The last city I worked, well, no, it's actually not the last city. The last city I worked as a public employee was City of Woodbury, and I was part of that Carver Lake.
I remember.
Yeah. And that Woodbury really didn't, that just went right onto their park system. It was just one more of their many, many assets, and the insurance trust dealt with it. Now, over time, if there was a series of reoccurring incidents, your insurance trust would certainly want you as a community to look at that issue, and potentially it could affect your risk level, and so your insurance could go up if there was some inherent constant issue that kept reoccurring. But I guess to answer the question directly, in my experience, it would have very, very little impact on the city's insurance, and I think as a volunteer group, we would look for the city as the owner of the park or the operator of the park to ultimately take care of the insurance.
So let me ask Jennifer, is this something we can ask the city attorney to just give a quick opinion on?
Sure. The city attorney was present at one of their presentations to the city. We kind of talked a little bit about, you know, just there's risk with climbing structures and playground equipment in our city, and just
So it's kind of a general.
fall under that.
In
I'm sorry, it's
a
kind of-
general way.
Yeah.
But where does Saska come in then? Because Saska, I know, had trouble getting the insurance that they wanted for them, the own organization back in 2016.
Well, you know, I think one way to look at it is that you already have a pretty extensive, well-used mountain bike trail system in your park, and this would be, you know, if you've got 2.5 miles of trails already, this adds another 1/4 mile to that. So I would say that there's probably higher speeds, maybe tighter turning and more aggressive riding happening on the trails than what would happen in the skills park, which tends to be very slow, controlled. You know, learning balance and control is really what that's all about in the skills park.
It'd be the younger kids in the skills park though, compared to the older kids at Valley
Well,
View.
maybe some really old kids too.
That-
You know.
Rookies.
Rookies.
Ricky's.
So that leads, if as long as you have the mic, whoever wants to take this one, that leads to my, I got a few more questions, is maintenance. So some of these features are going to require some maintenance. And is that something that you folks do, or we don't want to burden our city here with having to maintain the skills course?
So I think maintenance we can break into 2 categories. One is maintaining the features themselves. So if wood starts deteriorating or something breaks, that would be SAS's responsibility to monitor and fix. And then the maintenance with regards to grass trimming and all that, I'm not sure what we end up doing there. But that we'll figure out who's gonna do what. If we need to know, we can know. If it makes sense to have the mowing done under an existing contract the city has, then that's
Or how about some of those wooden treads if they become loose or something?
right. That would be the features that we're responsible for. SAS.
So would that be an understanding, be important to me? You know, I went up to Cuyuna, and your coach will know that. I mean, when you talk about features up there, I'm not going to say this scared the heck out of me. Some of the features up there, but that's all under into the spectrum, you know. But there's some features up there. So I guess I'd like, as a commissioner, to see what features you have planned. What features you have planned in there, just to see what. Have you done a layout rather than a box we're seeing on a match? Have you done features layout on your planning?
We haven't put together a detailed plan yet. I think the main objective of this meeting was to get you guys aware and to get some kind of feedback as to the interest level, right?
Yeah, before you go.
You know, and what we put in is gonna be a function of how much money we have, so how much can the city provide, how much is SAS gonna provide, those types of things, or are we gonna go to grants and sort of thing. But, yeah, I mean, absolutely, before we would start spending any money or go to the city council, I think we would wanna have a more detailed plan.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I have another question in the same way. I want to know where Saska comes in. If this is sort of where you learn it, are Saska people going to be out there helping people learn even the very rudimentary kind of actions in this park area?
I don't see Saska being there as coaching general citizens that happen to come.
Okay, that's what I wanted to
I
know.
think it's gonna be very equivalent to the single track. It's out there, it's for anybody to use. The Stillwater High School team is gonna come and use the single track. They would probably, beginner riders would also come and use the skills part. But from a training standpoint, no, I think it's gonna be there. There's gonna be features that are obviously easier, and we'll start to try those, and then when they realize, oh, we can do that, then we'll just naturally move up. Yeah.
That goes along with the question I had down here. What would be say at the beginning of practice for the youngest kids, what would be the largest number of bikers you'd have at any one time at that playground? I mean, are you talking 10 kids, 20 kids, 3 kids?
I would say 10 to 20. 20 would probably be a bit, would be more like 10.
And that would be like an after, is it, do you coach after school? Is it, so 3 o'clock roughly?
Yeah, we're typically 3 to 5 o'clock, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we would start at the high school. So it would take 20 minutes for everybody to ride there, then spend, you know, they probably would only spend an hour there for going to single track.
We have difficulty with that. I get a lot of comments about the team coming down there with only one adult. And I was told by that adult last year that you can't find more chaperones, if you will, guides. And so you have 70 kids riding the trail there, the asphalt trail. And I've had elderly people there, handicapped people, because there's the senior citizen high rise right there. A lot of people are on that trail all day. And the kids come in with one person and 2 senior citizens. One had a cane and a boot on his foot, and they were yelled at by that one single adult chaperone with 60, 70 kids. And he yelled at those people, at those 2 men, and said, "Hey, I got 70 kids here. You got to get out of the way." We need to know that Saska, if you're going to even invite more people in, are teaching the youngsters the way of things and the laws here. And that's that pedestrians have the right of way on the asphalt paths. They can't be throwing people aside. I've had a young mother with a 3-month-old in a stroller being told the same thing. "Hey lady, get out of the way." It's a problem for me, because they come to me and want to know why that's happening.
Just one thing, just a personal note, the reason I'm involved in this is that I'm excited about the fact that we get kids outdoors, we get kids playing outside, we get them active. If we get an agreement to work with the city on a project like this, we'll have what I see as a triple win. We take a waste area, we turn it into a park area, an asset. We engage our youth and some of our older youth in a volunteer project to build this thing. That right there addresses some of what you're concerned about, that civic responsibility. Getting kids out and having them help build something like this and take some ownership, take some pride in it, that's a big thing, and it doesn't happen a lot these days. And we have trouble finding people to run for commissions these days because we don't teach civics in our schools anymore. And this is one way to do it. And so to me, this is a great project because it involves city and your goals of getting recreation, getting people active. It engages a piece of property that really doesn't have a good use. It's kind of a waste product. And it engages our youth and some of our older youth, myself included, in getting out there and making a difference and building something in the community that's an asset. So kind of a triple win. It's one of those things, it could see some use. Usually we got a problem with a lot of use in a park. That's the right problem to have, versus the spray painting and graffiti, those kind of problems. Those are the hard ones to deal with. And you're right, maybe we need to have a little civics lesson amongst our high school riders before they send off on their first ride. So I think that's a good topic we could work on with our high schoolers.
And your guides, your adults.
So I'm the head coach of the Stillwater Mountain Bike team, and last year was my first year doing it. And with our organization at the time, NICA, which is the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, which is now we are in the MCA, Minnesota Cycling Association, so they departed from NICA. We need to have 2 coaches per 8 riders, or 1 coach that's a level 3 certified coach per 6 riders. So that ratio needs to happen in order for liability stuff with the Stillwater mountain bike. So in the last 2 years since I've been there, the pods that we called with the kids were separated amongst their abilities, and each pod had a location. So the pods range from 15 to 20 cyclists, and each of those pods would have to have 3 coaches minimum, right? So that's our goal. That's what we have to do that as Stillwater mountain biking for liability issues on the trails. As far as the efficacy or the respect on the trail, that's unacceptable if riders or other coaches are yelling at citizens. So that I'll make that stop right away. That's not a problem. But yeah, when we send groups, we are organized in terms of, okay, this group is going to Valley View, this group is going to Sunfish Park, this group is going to ride gravel roads around the Stillwater area or Park Heights, or this group is going to, say, the Skills Park. And then all the coaches have radios, so they're in communication if they're within that mile radius. So then we can kind of switch and negotiate things that way. So we're always looking to improve as a team, but yeah, that's kind of how the practices are run with the coach leaders, and I can have the coaches lead a discussion before they leave practice, emphasizing the rules of the road and the respect for others and riding single file and not speeding on the trails or anything like that. So I'm happy to do that and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
I've never seen less than 60 kids with 1 or 2 adults coming into Oak Park Crossing Park. Never. It's never been what you just discussed. So I'm happy that you're going to change that.
Can I ask a couple of questions? It would really be cool if you have an events like a rodeo or whatever you call them, like you do at River Falls, and I've been over that and all that stuff where you have like even this basic thing. We're going to do a workshop or event and throw it. That'd be a lot of fun to do.
Right.
And you folks would probably take charge of that and come back to us and say we're going to have an event, whatever you're going to call it, mountain biking event, rodeo, or whatever the terminology is. The other thing is, I can speak openly to the commission that I really want to go out and look at this. I'm one of those people I like to see what we're voting on. So I'd like to go out and have one or all of you actually will walk the site. I think that's a great idea. And actually, let me take it a step further, and that includes your, I don't know all the letters, B and C. Okay. So I think we can do that too. The third thing is, and I'll ask Jennifer, is it proper for us as commission members to contact Woodbury, Lebanon Hills, Carver, to have them get back to us and say, okay, if you folks have these, what do you think? What's the yings and yangs of one of these? I think that'd be proper for us to know.
Yeah, and Madam Chair, members of the commission, you can certainly direct one of us staff members.
I'd like you to do
Give
that.
us
So-
a list of your questions. I will reach out to Woodbury.
Well, the
I will
question's
reach out
real
to-
simple would be, and I'll tell you right now, for me anyway, the question's real simple. Woodbury, Clayton, Woodbury. You folks have one of these. What do you think? What's the plus and minuses? Can you give us an endorsement? What would you do different now?
Have you ever been to the Woodbury Park?
No. Well, I've been on the edge of, but the ones that you're specifically talking about, I haven't been on
Yeah.
that.
We should go.
Yeah.
I've
And
been
also,
there.
in Carver, that's the Carver one, right? The Woodbury one? And then Lebanon Hills. I haven't been in the Lebanon Hills one. It's cool.
Yep.
And then I'm not sure about Minneapolis, but those two would be in our neck of the woods where I think we could benefit by. And what would they have to hide? I mean, they could say, yeah, we love it, and this is what we do different, and da-da-da-da-da. And if there is a problem, we would have the benefit of knowing what the problem is ahead of time and not getting into issues with you folks.
Right.
There's also, somebody sent me some links to YouTube videos of some of these parks, and really
Yeah.
gives you a good
Yeah, good idea.
feel for what they're
That's a good
what they
idea.
look like. So I don't know if you can get those
I
out to
can,
them.
yeah, I
Yeah.
sent that link to Chuck. I can send the link out to the members of the commission.
But speaking as a commission member, I can tell you right now that I'm not in a position tonight to say yea or nay until I look at it. I just gotta be honest with you. And that's just an honest statement coming. I believe in looking.
This is to present information, not that we weren't expecting a blank check or anything.
Yeah.
I just went, early on, your first comment on conflict, so think of the skills part. It wouldn't be, anything's possible, but that someone's gonna, oh, here's a little boardwalk, we're gonna walk this little path up on top there. They're really, in the skills part that we're talking about, I couldn't see user conflict. It wouldn't be a clear, this isn't a walking path you take the stroller on. You saw the little features. Oh, here's a berm, that'll be kind of fun.
But access to it is still
There's access
one of the
to whole
concerns,
park,
you know.
Right, so that anybody can go.
It's one of the things that I'd suggest you add to this is some park benches. Let some of the senior citizens who live in the area
Watch.
be the ones who can applaud the kids doing this, you know, bringing them in rather than have them be at opposite ends of the happy spectrum, which is what I seem to deal with people within this community, you know, taxpayers within this community.
There are 2 park benches on the east side of the park right now.
Yes, I know there is.
What's your timeline on any of this?
We're open and we're willing to move forward when the city's moving forward. But we want to do it the right way too. You know, I'm sorry to hear about your difficulties, and as an assistant coach, you always try to teach the kids respect and the rules of the road, because a lot of these kids don't have their driver's license. You know, cars yield to bikes, bikes yield to pets, and that's just the way the world should work. And we should be very courteous because that's what we got.
I've got a couple of questions. First, have you approached Stillwater or Lake Elmo or Bayport? Is this the first try in Oak Park, and if Oak Park would say no, do you have a backup plan, or where is Oak Park in your pecking
I have not
order?
approached them. I'm a resident of Oak Park Heights, so I just
Started there and
started
see what
there
happens.
because Crossing Park is such a wonderful location for this type of.
It's great for walking. That's where I walk each day. so
Exactly. That's
kinda
the
what
problem. We
And then
have
my
senior
second-
residences.
My second question is, would this blue square be enough space, not including the area down by the playground and not a gazebo, but the picnic area, if you will? Is that blue area enough in there to set up an introductory area, or no?
It is enough, but it's far enough away from the playground that if the mother wants to watch one kid on the playground and one kid on the bike, that it's not really close enough to do that. Or it could be marginal, depends on the age of the kids.
Mhm.
But that blue area is quite large area. That's the same area as Carver Park is, and they built a really high-level mountain bike skills park in that area.
Right in there,
Yes,
without this,
without that.
yeah.
Without what?
Without the green and orange and just the blue. Okay, thanks for answering.
So what, another question, you know, we're just kind of talking now. What triggers you to say, okay, now we should pull together a plan for this area? Now we're at a point where we should show, or we should design our features on this thing. I mean, what?
That's
is-
just the protocol
Yeah.
that happens with any of these projects, Randy. So, you know, don't worry about that at this point. You know, they've got their basic stuff here, and it
Okay.
gives us, now we have to make some decisions and to move ahead. So, like I say, one of the things that I think is a good question is, why here? Why now? Because I wonder if Swagger Park has a lot of flat, empty land and isn't as overused as Oak Park Crossing. Even Autumn Hills might have a lot more land. But of course, my question right from the start was, have you asked the school district if you could build this kind of area on school property rather than take it to a city park? You know, has that been even thought of? Why wouldn't the
It has been
school?
thought of, and there's been discussion at the school. To be honest, I don't know exactly where it's at. They have their own rules and regulations they need to deal with that make it a little bit complicated. You know, schools are kind of open to the public, but not really, and so the liability is structured differently there. At this point, we don't know if we'll be able to do that, but there has been some discussion.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think we've got enough to at least
Well, I appreciate you
go
coming
forward.
and talking about it.
Yes,
That's
thank
great.
you. Thank you. It's really encouraging to see so many people from this area dedicated to helping these kids grow strong and wise and polite and all of those good things that come from any kind of outdoor activity and athletics involved. And so we appreciate that always, all of us as individuals even here.
When do you think we can go out and look at it?
We'll talk about that when this is done. We'll do some planning. Okay?
If you'd like any of us to attend, it'd be
Well, I think it'd be important.
Oh, yeah,
A
for
couple
sure.
of you are there to explain.
Yeah.
Bring your bikes.
Yeah.
So, Jennifer, is there anything else that you can suggest to us that maybe we missed?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I think you had some very good questions for them, and I hope their answers were good for what you were, hoping to get out of those questions. The next steps from what I'm hearing is that you would like to see the site, possibly. You'd like to get some answers from other cities on liabilities, pros, cons, and, maybe eventually see an actual design and some actual features that they're planning for this site. So at this point, I think what we'd like is a motion directing staff to ask those questions of the other cities. And then we do have next on our agenda to set a park walkthrough. And maybe at that time we can incorporate this walkthrough with them as well.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So for this item, I would just I would have you ask for a motion to direct staff to ask some questions.
I asked for that emotion.
Well, I don't know if I can word it right, Jennifer. I'll try.
Sure.
So if I move that we direct staff to do a couple of things. I don't know if I include it in the same motion. I would still like an interpretation from the city attorney.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea on anything, on something like this. Another thing is I would like staff to reach out to, and do you want the specific areas like Carver and Woodbury and Lebanon, Dakota County?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we need to go to Minneapolis, but those are two good examples. Just to ask them, if you want to know what the question is, very simple, just, plus or minuses with your experience with that within your community. Is that a basic enough question? And kind of,
Good enough.
that's my motion.
Second?
Second, sure.
Motion has been made and seconded. We'll move on to schedule the annual parks walkthrough.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the commission, annually you do your walkthrough. Sometimes we split that into a couple different dates because we are lucky enough to have a lot of parks here in the city. So typically what you've done in the past is maybe meet an hour before your next meeting or your next couple meetings. I do know that some of you may be missing for our next meeting, so we could maybe push it out to
Yes.
July or pick a
I
date.
won't be here for the next one.
Okay, or we could pick a day not associated with the commission night. Just ask you to take a look at your calendars. decide whether you want to get them all done in one day or if we want to split it up. I do suspect that meeting with this group at Oak Park Crossing Park and maybe even into Valley View at the trails would take a significant more
Yes.
amount of time than what we usually have at that park. So that's something to keep in mind.
So perhaps we could do the other 4 parks in one evening or whatever time. We're used to meeting at 6 p.m. Is that acceptable to both of you gentlemen?
To meet at 5 instead of 6?
At 5 or 6?
To do the walk through?
Jen,
That worked
how about
before. I think it helps. I don't know about you. I like to stay knowing that we're doing this on Mondays, you know. So I think the day has some appeal. I don't mind as long as I get enough notice.
Okay.
So
Folks, might I
we
add,
do,
May I add, just from years of doing this, I don't know that 1 hour is going to be enough to visit 4 parks.
No, you can't.
Right. So
But if we can do 2 hours and be done with it, you
the
know.
only thing I'm concerned about
3.
is my mind's on this now. And I wonder if you said wait till later on this. I almost like to do this first, but we can
No,
talk.
we've got plenty of time to do this.
well, do we have to wait for one of our commission meetings? Can't we go some other Monday during the month? I mean, I'm retired. I
Yes.
don't know about the rest of you. but
Absolutely. We've even done them on a weekend before, if that works. I know that's kind of
Yeah.
tough.
I'd say get them done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So-
no reason to push the park walkthrough off or this question about Oak Park Crossing.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so
So go ahead and.
what do you suggest from the professional standpoint?
So what I'm hearing is that you would like to hammer it all out as many parks as you can in one evening, whether that takes 2 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour. And it doesn't necessarily need to be on a meeting night, but you would like a Monday.
Well, that's what I said. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
That's fine.
that's fine with me too.
Okay.
So,
Daytime hours, I don't know if that's, I know you guys are busy during the day. Should we stick with evening?
and would you rather
Are you
do it?
asking me?
Yeah.
Would you like to
see how
do it
that
in
works.
2 nights,
We
2
can make it
Mondays?
anything.
Thanks, you guys.
We're flexible for your
Okay.
needs, so whatever
Thank you,
you decide,
gentlemen.
we can make work.
We'll get back to you on which,
Here's your.
or talk to Jennifer. Jennifer will let you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Andy.
Well, I said whatever you folks choose, we'll make work.
Like if we said 4 instead of 5, for example,
Sure.
you can live with that.
Chuck?
Yep.
4
What?
o'clock?
And, yeah, on the Monday, yeah, as long as we're sticking to, before the meeting, that Monday, those Mondays are blocked off.
Okay.
So Monday, May 23rd is the next, next Monday. How's your schedule?
I'm here.
Shall we plan to meet at what time on Monday, May 23rd?
Can we get the other 2 new commission members?
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Yes, it
Yeah,
Thanks
is.
for pointing
invite
that out.
them as part of
The
that.
city council will be meeting on Tuesday, May 24th to make that appointment.
Okay, so then we have to wait.
Yeah.
Let's,
Well, do
and
it
the
in June.
next Monday is Memorial Day.
Memorial.
Right.
So what's the next Monday?
June 6th.
June 6th?
The 6th,
Yeah.
can we do it June 6th? At least put it on the calendar if something comes up.
I'm sorry. Two
June
conversations
6th,
at
that's
once.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to discuss this. So Monday, June 6th, at what time? And then what park?
Well, Andy, usually, I think you're the one that pulls together a little thing for us with the parks listed and all that stuff. Are you gonna do that again?
Sure, you bet.
So, what do you think? I mean,
We're here as staff, so whatever works with your schedule.
So
If you
4
guys can be
p.m.?
here at 4,
How about
that's
4
great.
o'clock, start at Cover?
Yep.
Start at Cover.
And work our way to the west. It's a good idea.
Work
Yes.
with
That's
the-
what we did.
Yep.
there you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's a plan.
Yeah.
And Chuck, that's all right with you?
Yep, that works.
And I like here, let me say it for the second time, I like when you give us those cheat sheets,
Sure.
for lack of a better word.
Absolutely. Yeah, that helps.
So if we could get a motion setting that date,
I'll make that motion
okay?
to have a annual parks walkthrough, see how far we get. On Monday, June 6th at 4 p.m., we'll start at Cover and work our way west. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded, and we are to informational parks
No, we
walk.
need to vote on the motion.
Oh, we did. I'm sorry.
For-
All in
sorry.
favor?
Aye.
All right.
So before we're off this subject, we still haven't gotten to them. When are we gonna walk with them?
How about we have a walkthrough on June 20th before our meeting with them?
I like that.
I'm
you're not gonna be here.
I'm not gonna be here.
Couldn't you just have them meet you on June 6th when you go over to that part of the park?
I think we'll run out of time, aren't we? Or,
Well, tell them to be at the park at 4:30 and
And we'll be there.
be there,
okay,
I guess.
yeah. So then we go east before we go west.
No, start at Cover, you're still going west.
Oh, Culver and,
In
never mind. I'm
Right up
still
the hill.
Arizona time here. Okay, sorry.
Cover.
Yeah, so we inform them, Jennifer,
I will do that.
and as many as they want to bring.
Perfect.
Okay.
No, thanks, sorry, they don't fit in.
So the parks walkthrough now has been scheduled. The next meeting is Monday, June 20th. As I say, I will not be here. I have a funeral.
So that raises an issue, sorry. If you're not here, that's two of us, because you haven't appointed the new ones yet. That's not a quorum.
But they'll be appointed at your meeting, won't they, on the 24th of May?
Yeah, so they're fine.
Okay. So in theory, we'll have a full slate for the, it's missing one. So who's the vice chair that's gonna run that meeting?
George,
George.
George,
Sure.
right here.
he'll be in charge that night.
And
There
I'm
you go,
sorry.
George.
You know I don't miss very often, but we're flying out west for a family funeral.
Yeah.
And that's one I can't miss. And do we have anything else now?
I
The
got
next
one other
meeting-
thing. Oh,
Okay,
well,
you're fine. Go ahead.
So what's the status with our planter boxes? I sent Carly a note and I said, we're not gonna do it. I was with someone and I think it's a great idea. They put the time and effort into them. I think, I didn't get it, I didn't see it, but I think it was in your newsletter about planter boxes. And I guess there's some, according to Carly, there's some people interested. And I think I'm still helping out as a designated or whatever on that. So what's the status of it?
Great question, Madam Chair, members of the commission. All beds have been claimed.
Yay.
Yes.
That's
so-
good.
Yes, so I suspect we'll start seeing things being planted very soon. We're finally into that
That's good news.
growing season. So one of our boxes is designated as a community bed. That's bed number 1 out there. So tomatoes, peppers, those kinds of things will be planted in there for anyone to come and take. And then the other beds have been claimed by residents.
Wonderful.
So can you make sure that someone runs out there and gets pictures of them planting them?
Oh, you like
Please.
that idea?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, because that's perfect for the newsletter.
Yes.
That picture says 1,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
If you see them out there, run out there and take a picture.
Yes, we
Put
will.
it in the newsletter.
All right. Make somebody famous.
That's really good news. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. The upcoming council meeting is Tuesday, May 24th at 6 p.m. at City Hall. And do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved? Seconded?
Yep.
Motion has been made and seconded. We're done. Thank you.